In the United States of America, the typical child aged 2 to 19 consumes approximately 13.8% of their calories from fast foods. Annually, 36.6% of children indulge in fast foods at some point throughout the week. While this figure may not initially appear significant, it accounts for roughly 1/3 of the youth population of the United States, equating to nearly 28 million children. Although fast foods are horrible for human health for several reasons, many don't actually consider what resides within the perfectly cut, perfectly prepped, and perfectly looking product until a perfect child is obese, undeniably ill, and most alarming of all, an entirely new and different person. Good morning. My name is Anna Sophia Hubner, and today I will be discussing how synthetic food colorants, or SFCs, impact the lives and health of American children. First and foremost, what are SFCs? Synthetic food colorants are chemical substances that are added to foods or beverages and are used to enhance the physical appearance or taste of a considerably low nutritional product. Synthetic food colorants are produced in laboratories rather than being extracted from natural resources. Thus, synthetic food colorants come in various sources, including but not limited to liquids, gels, and are utilized in a wide range of products such as candies, baked goods, beverages, and more. An analysis by Globalization and Health conveyed how common products rich with SFCs include Nestle, Pepsi, and even Coca-Cola, which thus led me to think, if such common products are being consumed by citizens, how are children being impacted by such a toxicity? Which then led me to my research question. To what extent does the rising consumption of SFCs affect the overall well-being of children from the ages of 2 to 19 across the United States? And after conclusive research, I concluded that the introduction of SFCs in the U.S. food chain has aggravated health issues nationwide, particularly affecting the well-being of young individuals. This invasion of artificial additives has been linked to a massive decline in health, alterations in behavior due to neurological impacts, and cognitive impairments, profoundly impacting the trajectory of affected individuals' lives. And it wasn't until individuals working in processing companies and producing laboratories that the information regarding what truly resided in dyes was exposed, transforming the trajectory of a common term known as junk food into a non-recommended product, an ideology portrayed in Ted Thomas and Ira Chaliff's Moral Courage and Intelligent Disobedience, where they emphasized how it takes moral courage and intelligent disobedience on the part of followers to know when not to obey and even to know where to go outside of the hierarchy to report any malfeasance and wrongdoing. It may cost a job, reputation, or other adverse consequence, but it is the right thing to do. Firstly, newly induced conditions. The continuous consumption of SFCs significantly heightens the risk of developing autism, cancer, Crohn's disease, cardiovascular disorders, diabetes, obesity, and numerous other disorders. A study performed by Salute America conveyed how nowadays, as demonstrated in this graph, dietary risks are the highest cause of death in the United States. Not only does this information highlight how horrific the nutrition of the nation is, but how the impacts of what an individual consumes can truly be the difference of their life and of their death. Another study conducted by the University of South Carolina illustrated how, in this graph, Allure Red and Tartrazine Yellow, which are common food dyes, damage an individual's DNA, increasing and multiplying cancer cells in the colon, a part of the large intestine, until they have taken over the health of an individual. Therefore, it is imperative that children, but most importantly their parents, understand what their children are consuming so they can preserve their lives. Secondly, cognitive disorders. By continuously exposing hazardous additives, children are developing cognitive disorders like ADHD, significantly altering the course of their lives. The past 20 years have been utilized for continuous scientific research, and as the percentage of ADHD cases increased, the theory of cognitive impairment caused by SFCs grew to a maximum, driving institutions to accomplish scientific reports to prove the testament of how greatly SFCs were affecting the brain and transforming its lobes. And as this theory increased and analytical data was introduced, educators, parents, but most importantly, doctors, were anxiously embedded in a world where children needed to be analyzed to identify whether or not they could eat certain products. As this source from Oxford Academic expresses, for clinicians treating with ADHD, determining how to counsel parents concerning SFCs and hyperactivity remains a major concern. Providing children with a diet different from that of their peers can influence their behavior, making strict adherence to the diet difficult to achieve. Thus, parents of children with ADHD should be counseled to make careful food selections, choosing foods with no limited amounts of SFCs if they suspect or have concerns about food health associations. Lastly, the introduction of SFCs has been fundamentally linked to altering the behavior of children in the United States, influencing not only their environment, but the processing of their brains and how they interact with each other. SFCs have been recently linked to transform neurological pathways in the brain, altering the frontal lobes where characteristics and personality traits reside. In this, they transform their hyperactivity, inattentiveness, restlessness, and recently, their sleeplessness, irritability, and aggression. And as this quote from the Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment describes, for the child who is affected and their family, their teachers, and the school system, a short-term increase in inattentiveness or restlessness and anxiety can be repeated routinely when they consume food dyes. And by consuming these food dyes, they could reduce their social and academic successes and is thus adverse. This image or scan from Amen clinics illustrates how the brain is influenced by red dye number 40, a common dye found in nearly all red products, and how after the dye's exposure, the brain activity was severely increased, as you can see here in this image. Not only does the scan exemplify how greatly SFCs impact the brain's overall usage, but it acts as a stimulant, driving the brain into overworking and exceeding normal and proper functional behaviors. Due to the toxicity and colorants, the overall youth health in the United States has drastically decreased. Such colorants have massively declined human health and have altered behaviors due to neurological impacts, have established severe cognitive developments, and have profoundly impacted the trajectory of their lives. Although scientists are banning such colorants, they still roam free throughout the country and are used in so many common products that we, as a community, still eat to this day. And youths will always contain side effects that they gained from consuming these products that they didn't even know were so harmful in the first place. Therefore, in conclusion, the introduction of SFCs into the bodies of young children represents one of the most detrimental actions the FDA must take concerning the health of American youth. By saturating the food chain with a multitude of chemicals driven by colorants, the persistent presence of SFCs has worsened health issues nationwide, especially among the developing age group of young adolescents. This infiltration of artificial additives has not only led to a significant decline in health, but has also triggered neurological changes, behavioral alterations, and the emergence of conditions like ADHD, ultimately shaping the trajectory of affected individuals' lives in profound and concerning ways. This is my work cited.
Okay, first question. What information did you need before you began your research, and then how did that shape the research that you did?
Well, I needed information as to the side effects that the food colorants caused, and when I was able to identify what these side effects were, I was really able to gather three main arguments that I wanted to show or argue about.
Okay, and how did your conclusions respond to the research that you found from other people?
Well, the conclusions or research that other people found was how imperative it was that these food products were affecting children. So when I was reading my resources and analyzing all the data that I had, I realized that every single source had a common variable, and I was able to extract that variable and apply it to my research and thus create three main arguments as seen in